Hey, I'm Charlie Craven at Charlie's Flybox, and I just learned people love me. So here I am to talk about flies for October for all you people that love me. Uh, October is a month of no consequence whatsoever. Nothing good happens in October. I can't think of one single good thing about October. Can you think of anything good about October, Max? Do you
Uh,
have a microphone on today?
I do have a microphone
Oh
on.
my gosh, that's
Yes,
so much better.
that is so much better.
We do listen. We do listen.
Takes a while.
That it does. We're slow learners. But we're glad that you're patient. We're going to talk about flies for October, and Max's birthday is in October, so
Wow.
it's October 3rd. If you'd like to come by the shop and bring him a vegan, gluten-free treat of some sort, he loves that kind of thing.
Not vegan, not gluten free.
Uh, he's trying to be healthier. How old do you turn?
I turned 30 years old.
30 years old.
I turned boomer years
Do
old.
you remember those days? 30 years old.
Oh my God.
Wow, wow. I had 3 kids when I was 30.
I do not have 3
You
kids.
do not have 3 kids. You are
No.
still 3 kids.
I have 1 cat.
You are 3 kids in and of yourself.
3 kids stacked on top of each other
Just
inside a trench coat.
inside a trench coat, long hair, and a flat bill hat.
Oh lordy.
So there's that. Let's talk about some flies for October. October is actually one of my favorite months of the year, and I hope I'm going to get to stop doing so many house projects and actually get to go fish a little bit this month. It is sort of quintessential streamer season, and with that, not only are we going to talk about some streamers, but we're going to talk about my streamer, which is one of my favorite things. This is the swim coach, and what is of note on these particular swim coaches is these are the new colors. These are swim coach has been around for a long time, both full-size swim coach and the small baby swim coach. They've been around for a long time, but there are 3 new colors this year that we've got, and most shops should be able to get now, I think.
I believe so, yes.
So yellow, white, and tan, all tan. Which honestly were the first 3 colors that I ever tied this fly in, and they were the last 3 colors to get picked up. Yellow, obviously very high vis. White, very high vis. Yellow, even more so. And tan for that little baby brown trout. I'm going to talk a little bit about this fly. I'll try not to go on too long about it, but one of the things there's several things that is different about this fly from most conventional streamers that we're all throwing these days. This fly has got a tall profile, but is narrow. And it swims differently than something like a baby gonga would, or a dirty hippie, or a sex dungeon, or a Goldie. Most of those flies are bugger based. If you've been watching our streamer series, you kind of see the influence of the bugger. This fly is not bugger influenced. This fly is really more steelhead intruder influenced. And the idea was to build a fly that had a big profile without a lot of volume to it. So it's not going to be heavy to cast. It's slim. It sinks well, and it swims differently because it's got that wide top to bottom profile. It's got a wire connection rather than a spider wire. Gel spun connection, I guess is what that is, that I use on the baby gonga. So this has got a lot more swing to it. This is a fly that I can move around and fish a lot slower. We'll have a video. I don't know. It's on
the docket.
Yeah, theories of things to come about fast flies and slow flies. This is a fly that you can fish slowly. It's also, as you might note, pretty flashy. So if you get a kind of a bright day, sometimes it's. Here, I'm going to go on an aside. Here we go. We're 20 minutes into it. I just had a conversation with Tara the other day about all the shit that old guys say that, like, hey, bright day, bright fly, dark day, dark fly, and rainbows like silver and blah blah blah, which I have almost completely found to be absolute nonsense in every case. Nothing is ever always true. So I have fished this fly on bright days thinking like bright day, bright fly, and it works. I've also fished this fly on dark days, and bright fly, dark day works also. So I don't know that there's any merit to any of those old
I feel like
colloquialisms.
it's always good starting points. That's what I always say to people in the shop. But you got to cycle through all the stuff. You can't just go through the white box on a sunny day. Like,
right.
you gotta
just take your white box out on a bright day. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know how much of that actually holds true, but I fished it in bright. I fished it in dark. They eat it. It does swim differently. This is actually a design that I'm pretty proud of. It's got let me get it turned inside out here. It's got a big brass bead on the inside of it with a bunch of lead in there. So the fly is heavier than you think it is. Casts like a dart because it slims down so nicely. Thin, narrow profile, We're going to do a video about that, about surface area and how it affects flies floating or sinking. This is a good exercise of how it's got a narrow profile, less surface area, so sinks and cuts through the water and is influenced by currents a little bit more. There's a lot of design that went into this fly. I like it, and oh dang, it looks pretty darn fishy.
Can I say something about this fly?
No.
Please?
Go ahead.
I watched you fish this fly on the Arkansas River from the front of the boat 2 years ago, right?
And you're still influenced by it today.
No, seriously, because I had only ever fished bugger style, bugger based stuff that's more pull the string style stuff. And you fished that fly on a 5-weight with a floating line and a long leader, and it was the first time I'd ever seen somebody dance a fly in slow water like that. You know what I mean? Mending and making it kick back and forth.
Yeah, loose joint. That's a good point.
It's just a whole different way to fish it.
It is a whole different way. It's not just pulling the string, and pulling the string can be super effective sometimes. You can pull the string with this sometimes also. A fly like this that doesn't have a huge amount of mass to it doesn't want to stay down in the water, so it tends to, by default, have to be fished slower.
Yes.
You can strip it faster, especially on a sink tip line. You can strip it as fast as you want. But what it does afford you, especially with that loose connection, is being able to make that fly kick and weave and just kind of dip and dive and move around. And you see, just as I'm doing that in my hand, how much that tail's moving around. It's very lively without having to move it out of the target area. Kind of keep it in the zone. And that's one of the coolest things about this fly is that it'll kind of hang up. It doesn't sink super fast. It'll hang up in that shallow water, and you can kind of wiggle it around a little bit. What Max is talking about is those little mends. It's just like a mend a nymph. Just kind of throw a hard, aggressive mend that you would say is overdoing it for a nymph. And you twitch the leader, and your fly kicks a little bit. It'll kick a little bit, and you can give them another strip.
I'll never forget watching that fly the first couple times, and just watching its head dart side to side. It was like you're walking the dog with a spook almost.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh my god, you can make a fly you can make one do that.
You can make them do all kinds of stuff if you build them that way. So you should have some of these in your box for fall. You should have some of these in your box for spring too. But you should get some for right now, no doubt about it. So that is the famous swim coach. You'll have to watch the tying video if you want to know where the story of the name came from. I think it's in the tying video.
I think it is too.
And it's certainly in my Tying Streamers book, Stackpole Books, copyright, whatever. I don't know when that was, but you should have that as well.
A published author.
I am a published author. 4 times. Next streamer that you should add, speaking of bugger-based streamers, this is a Goldie. And we have a running joke here at the shop because apparently I remembered this fly to be cream-colored. And both Jennings, Hester, and my son took it upon themselves to remind me that it is indeed white. And it is indeed white, but I seem to remember this fly being cream-colored.
I don't know.
It's white. It's got a gold tinsel body. It's basically 2.5 buggers. Look, there's one bugger. There's another bugger. There's a little hackle, a little bit more marabou at the front. This fly is actually a really effective fly. It's got a lot of volume to it. Not terribly. This is a great fly for a tire. So, if you're getting into tying and want to tie some streamers, a Goldie or a rusty trombone, which is the olive version of this, pretty simple flies to tie, but really effective streamers, and all they need to be. Lots of kind of big outside profile. Not too heavy, just a cone, not lead eyes, so not too heavy to cast. That's a great one, especially this time of year where the water's a little bit shallower. You don't want to plop down something with a big heavy set of large size or medium size lead eyes. A fly like that is a good profile to throw this time of year. I like those lighter colors; they're just easy to see. The olive one does work. Olive is not my favorite color streamer, but there are days where it definitely does it. That one's called a rusty trombone. This is called a Goldie. Hugely popular on the North Platte. A lot of guys swing this fly. This is another one. It's got a pretty loose connection. I think it's Dacron on this. If I can get in there. I think that's what it is. Can't even see it. But so maybe not quite as much wiggle as the Swim Coach, but a little bit different profile altogether. A little bit more round, a little bit more volume to it. So it's going to show up a little bit more. So add that to your box of tricks as well.
Jason Allen loves that fly.
Jason Allen loves this fly.
That's my comment. I got a microphone.
Are you sure you want to keep that
I got to make
microphone
a comment about every single one of them now.
See what
I'm
you've
going to ruin
done?
this for
It was
everybody.
nice before, wasn't it? What do we got next? Okay, it's October, but it does not mean that dry fly fishing is done, and it certainly doesn't mean that kind of the terrestrial fishing is done. I was driving home night before last down the back road, and I'm still running into plenty of bugs on the highway, or I'm not even on the highway, on the back road.
Yep.
Running into plenty of bugs, running into my windshield. So they're still out. And it's been fairly cool. I live at about 7,500 feet. It's been fairly cool at night, but there's still bugs around. A general terrestrial kind of thing, like a little stubby chubby, small, dark, just a general run-of-the-mill, could be anything terrestrial. Stubby chub, these come 14, 16, 18, I think is the size range on them.
Which is why I included that, the 16 and 18.
Yeah, in the small sizes. This is still big enough to hold up a little dropper underneath it, which we'll get to in a minute. But a bright colored little fly that's easy to see. It's small for a terrestrial, but it's big compared to the blue wing olives you're going to be fishing. Very buoyant, perfect for dry dropper rig and those super skinny, shallow little riffles. And you'll be surprised how many fish come up and eat that. If you fish a small terrestrial, and I know I harp on this, a little fat Angie is right along the same line, something that's buoyant and small profile. If you fish a little fly like this and fish it like you see a rising fish, don't just cover water, don't just slap it down and get sort of 2 feet of good drift and 6 feet of terrible drift. If you pay attention to it and get good drift all the way through, you will be amazed how many fish eat this fly, or eat a fly like this. It doesn't even necessarily have to be these. Eat a fly like this in that kind of water conditions. A lot more useful, and I think gets overlooked in a lot of cases. So add some of those. That stubby chubby comes in pale yellow, purple, and tan. They're all black on top. They've just got different colors on the bottom. I would stick with the darker colors, purple tan. That tan is actually fairly dark. I would stick with those, or a black or an olive fat Angie. Which brings me to the next thing, which is, guess what? Also my fly.
Wow.
I don't know who's writing the script for this thing, but it seems like there might be some.
I'm writing the script for this thing.
There might be some nepotism,
and I included this because I said it. We've talked about this fly a ton, but my God, there's just not a lot of other things like it, and it is so good for this time of year.
It is. Now you all know why Max is still here. We let him out of the bathroom. So the little bit is kind of a silly story. This fly took me way longer to develop and perfect than I'd like to admit. It is super simple. This fly is about a 2 or 3 minute fly to tie. Does not take very long at all. Super simple. I could probably tie these in a minute, I would bet. They go by pretty darn quick. A little bit of Vivus body quill, a little resin, a little hen hackle, and your fly is done. The key to this fly is we've got kind of that Jujubatus, like perfect little teardrop profile with 2 1.5 tungsten beads in it. And this comes down to a 22, 18, 20, 22. So little tiny profile Batis mayfly nymph with 2 tungsten beads in it. Perfect fly to hang under a little stubby chubby or a fat Angie. Small dropper fly that's got enough weight to get down and actually be viable down in in a foot deep riffle. Perfect fly for that kind of rig. Comes in a ton of colors. What do we have in front of us? Red, purple, brown, olive, black. Red, purple, brown, olive, black, I think is all 5 colors.
There's a light olive and a dark olive.
There is a light olive and dark olive. I like the brown. That's the original one that I came up with. The light olive, I think, is the best seller out of the bunch.
Brown or light olive, I would say, probably. I fish the brown the most.
Yeah, but brown is just mayfly colored.
Yep.
And that is not limited to just fishing under a little dropper or a little dry this time of year. That's a fly that you can fish in the springtime as well. But that's a fairly new one. When did this come out? Last year.
It's weird because we get them early, so
yeah,
it's skewed. Like I feel like it's still new
I've had
for
it for
people.
a long time.
Great point fly for tailwater Batis stuff.
Yeah, tailwater Batis.
My lord.
Yeah, if I'm going to go sight fish in a riffle, this is going on the front and a Jujubatus is going on the back. It used to just be 2 Jujubatus, but now with a little bit of extra weight in this one, it's a perfect tandem rig with a Jujubatus, especially if you got fish chowing on Batis. Little bits, you should have some of those. And God forbid, when it starts snowing, there's going to be.
I drove through the mountains yesterday. I saw some snow. So I guess that time is now.
Did you see any midges?
I've been seeing some big old chironomids on the DSP, but we're not really going to talk about that in here.
That's not the same.
That's a whole
That's
different
not the same. Midges will start again before. Midges are short. They're always there. You just try to ignore them until you have to pay attention to them. as things get colder, we'll kind of get into midge larva pupa season, where you're just drifting something small and dumb down along the bottom. And if you're gonna do it, holy cow, this fly is mine also.
Look at that.
Oh my god, it seems like October is my month.
I'm really
It's not
invested.
your month anymore.
Really invested in
No
keeping
one
my
cares
job.
that it's your birthday. It's really Charlie Craven month. This is a poison tongue jig bomb. They come in, they're the ubiquitous blue. That's been, honestly, I didn't expect the blue one to be as big a hit as it was when the original poison tongue came out. But these are tied on jig hooks with drop beads. So the jig bomb beads, the offset beads. So they're extra sized, extra big, heavy bead tied on a jig hook. So these are pretty slim little profiled midges with a big tungsten bead on them. So they will get down as deep as you need them to get. Absolutely, you can fish them under a little dry like this. They're made for that kind of thing. 18, 20, 22, 16, 18, 20 is the size range on these. Black, let's see, black, brown, and blue, which is kind of blue-gray.
Yep.
Blue-gray on overcast days, that's the theory on that. When I first started tying the regular poison tongue, fishing it on bright days, I had fish run away from it. On overcast days, it was astonishing how far fish would move for it. Ask around about that fly. It's hugely popular. There's some guys that are, some shops just sell mountains of them. When you know, you know. Have some in your box. If you're a tyer, again, this is a super easy one. It's kind of fun to tie. And you can do a million combinations of it. But I like the drop bead on that because I can oversize the bead without changing the size of the fly. It gives you a little more room to tie the fly on the hook as well. So you got a little bug behind it and just that bead to keep it down. Add those to your box as well. And keep those in your box for November.
Good bluing olive crossover on the black.
On the black,
and the
black
copper.
or the brown, yeah. So the brown one has got a copper bead. The black one has got a black bead, obviously. But absolutely good beta nymph crossover. Yep. Yeah, simple enough. You know, that's one thing that I think that perdigons have taught us, and you can see by the little bit in the jujubetas. I've always thought, you know, try to get pretty accurate representations of. Somebody needs to answer the phone.
I can't believe we did that.
I can't.
It's
I
been
believe it.
So long since we messed that up.
It has. Back in the bathroom. Where was I? You know, all of these kind of will cross over for betas, but my whole idea in general has always been to try to tie accurate representations of beta nymphs. Perdigons have taught us that you've just got to have like the most basic essence. If you got a little brown skinny bug that is about the right size and feed it to them, they will eat it. You should still fish stuff that's a little more complicated than that, just for your own pride and joy. And you should have some pride in your work. But if you had to, you could probably get away with just that.
They'll eat just about anything.
They will. Fish
They're just curious. They just want to see what it is.
They're dumb.
What
curious. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Fish are curious. And eventually, somewhere this month, and it's already happening in a lot of places, these little beta nymphs and midge nymphs will start hatching into adult betas and adult midges. So we've got a few flies for that as well. This little massacre midge is made to be fished as a dry fly. It's a really low floating little flat in the water cripply kind of midge. A lot of guys just fish this as a nymph. Fish it with split shot, fish it down, you know, fish it with a jig bomb, something like that. This fly is actually made to fish as a dry in the surface film, and it is deadly. It is very hard to see. So it sits really flat in the water. But that is a great fly when you've got fish that are eating those midges in those little backwaters with the foam. It can be a hard fly to see. You put something on a little bit bigger in front of it, a parachute at them, so it's easier to find. But that is the answer for those fish that are sucking that tiny stuff that you can't see in the foam. Massacre midge is a great one. There's a massacre. What colors does this come in?
So black for a midge and then olive for a betas.
For the betas.
Yep.
But the olive one will work for a midge also if your midges are olive.
Sure.
You know, it's the same bug either way. It's an olive version and a black version. And I would have some of both. And get little ones.
They go down to like a 22.
Creeping into that time of year for sure. Next one is Bucky's Upbeat Betas, which is sort of a little synthetic-y, sparkle done sort of thing. You know, pretty nondescript, just ragged little bug. And I'm getting more and more into this kind of ragged stuff these days. I'll always, you know, my whole life tried to tie stuff that's really clean and neat and prim and proper. I like the sort of raggedy look of a lot of these flies. This little poly wing on this makes this fly, even in these tiny sizes, really easy to see. Got a little split tail on it, simple thread body, little sparkly dubbing for the thorax. Very simple, but that's all it needs to be. Don't overcomplicate it. We've learned that from flies like the mole fly. Doesn't need to be a lot. It just needs to be just what it needs to be and just a little bit of it, and make it small and show it to them. And last but not least, of course, I already said the mole fly, the Timmy. You should have that in your box. If you've got fish eating Baetis, you should put this on and just feed it to them. My favorite thing about this fly is it's very easy to see, and it's pretty low maintenance. Easy to dry out. It is less maintenance than the mole fly. You can catch fish on it, dry it out on your shirt tail or on a wonder cloth, throw it back out there and catch another one. So easy to see, small profile, floating nymph really is what that is, but it's a dry fly. Don't fish it under the water. I guess you could fish it under the water if you wanted to, but you really should fish it on top because dry flies are where it's at. And November comes next, so that's all going to end. So get the dry fly fishing while you can.
I was going to say the Timmy's kind of like for a while for us, it was like a if you know kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Now it's on you if you don't know, because we have talked that fly to death, and the secret should be out.
It should be out, but although it takes a long time. So yeah, we'll tell you one more time.
It does.
But don't expect us to tell you 37 more times. 36 probably is what we'll tell you.
We'll see. You do like talking about your own flies.
I do. I know a lot about them.
You do.
I know all the details. I have to make up the stuff on these other flies. I mean, come on. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That is our flies for October. Don't forget, Max's birthday is October 3rd. He is registered. Where are you registered at? Bed Bath & Beyond?
Bed Bath & Beyond. I do love a pamperin'.
A pamperin'.
I love a pamperin'.
It's no surprise to anyone here.
Nope.
Yep. There you go.
Who I am.
Thanks for watching.